Here's what we like to do today. I'll go ahead and make some statements, and then Special Agent Charge Hoffman will make some statements, and then I'll come back to answer some questions that you may have. You're going to get my disclaimer. These are only allegations at this point. These defendants deserve the presumption of innocence, and we're going to give it to them. Everything we say in the next few minutes are allegations and only allegations. We're here today to announce the arrest of Larry Householder, the Speaker of the House of the State of Ohio, and 4 other defendants for racketeering in relation to what is likely the largest bribery, money laundering scheme ever perpetrated against the people of the state of Ohio. The conspiracy was to pass and maintain a $1.5 billion bailout in return for $61 million in dark money that were used for various things. 1, to line the pockets of the defendants. 2, to build a power base for Larry Householder. And 3, to further the conspiracy, that is, to further the affairs of this enterprise. Make no mistake, these allegations are bribery, pure and simple. This was a quid pro quo. This was pay to play. And I use the term pay to play because that's the term that they've used as alleged in the affidavit. Company A. We have a very, very, very rough diagram of what we're talking about here today. The real diagram to take up probably most of this wall. Right? Company A is provided the $60 million in return for the $1.5 billion bailout. Everyone in this room knows who Company A is. I will be not mentioning the name of Company A because of our regulations and rules. They have not, and no one from that company has as of yet been charged. So I will be referring to this as Company A. It was vital to the success of this enterprise, this conspiracy, that no one knew that Company A's $61 million would be used to do everything to further the affairs of the enterprise. That was the key to the enterprise, the success of the enterprise. In order to do that, the conspiracy had to create Generation Now. Generation Now is also charged as an entity to the indictment. Generation Now is what we call a 501c4, right? And a 501c4 does not have to disclose the donors to this entity, this enterprise. Unlike a PAC or a super PAC that always has to disclose the source of their donations to the FEC, the Federal Elections Commission. 501c4s are not regulated by the Federal Election Commission, but by the IRS. And it is very difficult for any civilian to get anything from the IRS outside their own taxes, and in fact, often us as well. But in any event, they do not have to commit to announce and disclose their donors. That's the key. Now, a 501c4 is actually operated exclusively to promote social welfare. It's a social welfare entity. That's what it's supposed to be used for. And it's more defined on what it's not supposed to be used for. It is not and cannot financially benefit a shareholder or individual. In this case, it did. Political activity cannot be its primary activity. In this case, it was. And it cannot intervene politically in a political campaign on behalf or against any candidate. And in this case, it did. Not a dime of the money, of the $61 million that was filtered to Generation Now by Company A went to any social program. There were no members that donated to this 501c4. $61 million was donated completely by Company A through some other sources, sometimes directly to Generation Now, sometimes through another 501c4, but eventually in that 2.5-year period, $61 million got to Generation Now. The co-defendants in this case, along with Larry Householder, are all political advisors, lobbyists, who all worked in different capacities. But make no mistake, this is Larry Householder's 501c4, as alleged in the charges. The first part of the scheme, the first part of the Affairs of the Enterprise, what they had to do their part, remember, their goal was for Company A, was to pass House Bill 6 and to maintain House Bill 6. That is, not get it reversed by petition. First thing they had to do is build Team Householder. Team Householder, Larry Householder at the time in 2018 was not yet Speaker of the House. He had to be elected Speaker of the House. So millions of dollars were filtered through Company A, through Generation Now, to numerous, dozens of different enterprises controlled by members of the conspiracy. To confuse, to hide that the money was coming from even Generation Now. To Team Householder. Team Householder were 21 candidates in 2018 that were running in the primaries as well as the general elections. Millions of dollars went to support those candidates and to attack their rivals to get them elected. It was very successful. All of the individuals in Team Householder that were funded by Generation Now via Company A via Generation Now all voted for Larry Householder to be Speaker of the House. Ultimately, only one voted against House Bill 6. Now that we had in 2018, Larry Householder was then elected as Speaker of the House. He had his power base. The next step was to pass House Bill 6. In 2019, millions of dollars were filtered from Company A to Generation Now through all of these entities to pass House Bill 6. Many of you may have remembered in 2019, commercials, mail-ins, flyers, they all ultimately came from Company A. It was important and imperative to hide that. And that's what this conspiracy did. Eventually, House Bill 6 was passed. In fact, some of the commercials and some of the flyers kept going after House Bill 6 was even passed to what they called, the enterprise called, running cover for the individuals that actually voted for House Bill 6. As you're aware, after House Bill 6 was passed in 2019, there was a ballot initiative to reverse it. There were individuals that were going to try to get the people of the state of Ohio to reverse it via a ballot initiative to kill House Bill 6. At that point, more money, tens of millions of dollars, went from